All right, what is your name and where are you from?
Yeah, I'm Beth and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
And why did you join the squad? What were you struggling with that made you reach out?
Yeah, just over a couple of years, I had gained weight like post and during COVID, and had tried to do kind of things on my own where I thought that I was eating less than I needed, like in a calorie deficit. And I was doing like 3 days of like strength and hit workouts, and I just wasn't losing any weight. And I just kind of felt a little discouraged and lost. And so I literally Googled for trainers in my area, and I wanted it to be a female, and that's how I ended up finding the Slay Squad.
Awesome. So glad you did. So when you said struggling, how long were you trying on your own for?
Probably a little over a year where I was like actually tracking what I was eating and like being really intentional about getting 3 workouts in a week.
hmm And with that, if you're tracking your food and you're working out 3 times a week, you should be seeing something, right? It's hard to like stay motivated when nothing is changing on your body.
Exactly.
And you work in healthcare.
Yes, I'm a
Yeah, so
nurse.
tell me a little bit about that. Did that bring on some of the struggles for you as well?
Oh, I'm sure. I worked 2 jobs. I'm a critical care nurse by background. I worked 2 jobs through COVID, and just like really leaned into that hustle. And I can remember there were days where we would get like so many, I mean, in general, there's so many goodies, but there was like a lot of food donations and stuff through COVID. And I like became a bit obsessed with crumble cookies. And
Oh
when you
no.
really look at it, I think the serving size is like a fifth of one of those cookies. And I would easily eat like 2 or 3 on a given shift, and was just
That's
like
so terrible.
always craving, always eating sweets, and just like slowly was like, okay, now this doesn't fit. This is too tight. These pants are too snug. So then you like size up, and then you're like, oh, these are now also too tight. Working day shift primarily since I've been in Arizona, but I have worked nights in the past, and just being in like an early morning and then coming home like after traditional dinner time, kind of trying to find the balance of eating right, but also not just like coming home and being like overly exhausted and just like eating everything in the fridge while you're waiting for something to microwave. Um, so definitely just not really healthy eating patterns, I would say for sure. And then just working in like a high stress environment. I did a lot of, and I'm better than I used to be, but a lot of like emotional eating, just being like overly tired or just like drained and just like seeking comfort in eating food.
hmm Yes, I have been there as a nurse too. It's just so easy. You don't really realize it till you're kind of in it for quite a while. But food is always there. It's usually in the break room. And people do like it is a blessing in a way, like they bring all these treats and stuff, and it's like it's sweet, but you find yourself kind of eating in those stressful environments. And then I think before you know it, like your go-to in stress is to kind of eat.
Yeah.
So you were struggling a little bit, wanting to lose some weight. What did you accomplish when you joined the program?
Yeah, so I worked really hard with Lindsay to try and not take on too much in the beginning, because I'm the kind of person where like if you give me 7 new things to do, I'll just kind of like shut down and be like, I can't, like this is too much change. And so we really worked on like 1 or 2 things. And then when I got good at those 1 or 2 things, and in the beginning it was just like tracking everything, walking, and lifting 4 days a week. And so once I got really good at like those fundamentals, then it was like, okay, now I'm going to be more intentional about eating in a calorie deficit and understanding like protein. And then from there, it became like, all right, well, I actually feel a lot better if I eat a larger breakfast and almost a
Yes.
smaller dinner. And that was just
Yes.
like over time developing. But if I would have tried from the beginning to figure all of that out, I would have just like I can remember it was honestly probably like several months into the program when she was like, how do you feel about adding in some moderate cardio? And I was like, I don't feel good about that, but I think that if you feel like we need to do it, then we should do it. But like had it been in the beginning, like track everything, eat in a deficit, hit your protein, do these weight lifts, moderate carb rate, like it would have been just like I am gonna
Overwhelming.
fail, and I just
Yeah.
am not even gonna put in baby steps. So for me, it was really like incremental shifts up. And I've had some setbacks because I've injured like my glute slash like low back, just like bending over, not even necessarily weightlifting. And so that was hard to kind of refocus what I could train in that time while I was working through physical therapy, and also seeing that I could still see results from just walking and doing upper body and eating in a calorie deficit. So that was also one of those where it's like you have to sometimes pivot your approach. And that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you're going to slide all the way back to where you started. It just means that maybe this is more of a time of like rest and not so much of like the building muscle part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, everything is figure outable, right? Like there's always something you can do without resorting to going all the way back all or nothing. And what results have you seen? I know like you look great in your progress pictures. What were the top results that you've noticed?
Yeah. So I just did the math before I joined the call with you. I'm down 41 pounds.
Wow.
I was probably a size like 14, like a snug 14 when I started, in pants. And I was like probably a size 12 in like a dress or a top. And I'm down to a lot of my like free body clothing that now I'm like, that's all really outdated. So now that I have to get new stuff. So 41 pounds. I'm down from a 14 to like a 6 or an 8. I'm down from like a
That's
large to like
crazy.
a medium large. And then I just find I sleep really well. And I was having like a lot of foot pain. And I think just losing some of that extra weight has helped me just like not have so many like aches and pains, just
Yes.
like living throughout the day.
Well, very proud of you. That's a lot of weight. That's a big accomplishment, especially working a high stress job. What do you feel like if you had to give any advice or a tip for nurses, like what holds them back and what is like a swap or a change you would recommend them make that would make the most difference for them if they're struggling with their weight and with stress while
Mm,
working a stressful job?
I would just say start, pick one thing and start there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's um like packing a small meal to eat at like 4 or 5 o'clock so that when you get home at 8 o'clock, you're not ravenous.
Hmm.
Maybe it's that you wake up 30 minutes earlier and you go for a walk in the morning before your shift just to kind of like get some fresh air and set your mind. But yeah, like just something that I've heard a lot in the squad is nothing changes if nothing changes. And so it's that idea of like it's scary, but it's doable. And if you just take one step in the right direction, um, you will reap the rewards of that.
Awesome. And last question for you is, would you recommend the Slay Squad to your friends and family?
100%. Actually, two of my friends, one did the Splay Squad for a couple of months. One of them is still in the squad. And I think a lot, it was just, they're both in healthcare and they saw the same thing where it's like, you get kind of stuck. You don't know where to start. You're in this environment where you're like, well, I love what I do, but it's stressful and we work long days. But we have all of the right information for our patients, but we just never really seem to take it to heart and apply it to ourselves. So 100%, I would recommend it. I have learned a ton about myself and also just like doing hard things, even if it's not weight loss, and just building that like mental resilience that I can do things that are challenging, whether that's transitions in life or making hard choices or losing 41 pounds. It's all about that, like you can do hard things. And the squad has really taught me that. So 100%, I would recommend it to anybody who's interested in having a little bit of more structure and guidance and support through their weight loss journey.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And for also just setting the example for healthcare workers. We want to see all the nurses get healthy and start to feel better. So thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
exactly. Yeah, of course.
Awesome.